Sun Devil Stadium, Tempe, Arizona, where temperatures will approach the upper 90s for this afternoon's meeting between Arizona State and the 17th ranked University of Washington Huskies. A pleasant good afternoon to you. Keith Chipman along with former Washington and Washington State assistant coach Ken Woody. Pleased you could join us for this afternoon's Pac-10 Conference matchup. And Ken, a lot of talk this week about being able to control one's own destiny.
Well, Keith, there are two undefeated teams in the conference right now. They're both here today. The winner goes on, wins the rest of their games, goes to Pasadena.
Well, the road to Pasadena does go through Tempe today, but the injury bug is playing a big factor in Arizona State's plans. They will have 7 starters unavailable to them for today's game. The latest to join the list is nose guard Pat Mason, nursing his sprained ankle. One of 5 defensive starters lost the past 3 games. We've just been informed that Shane Collins is available and may play today. On the offensive side, starting tailback George Montgomery out with shin splints. He accounts for 3 of Arizona State's 5 rushing touchdowns this year, but the most devastating injury is to that of quarterback Paul Justin.
Well, Paul Justin had passed for nearly 600 yards in 2.5 games before this injury occurred against Missouri, trying to recover a fumble. These are big shoes to fill. Kurt Lasher, redshirt sophomore quarterback, has been in this situation before. Last year against San Jose, he came on and threw 2 touchdowns and a 28-14 lead. Sun Devil coach Larry Marmie has got all the confidence in the world in this young man.
Kurt knows our offense. We don't have to limit the things that we're going to do offensively. But, again, we're talking about a different athlete. Kurt's arm's not as strong as Paul's. He doesn't have basically the experience that Paul has. So, you know, we've just got to be careful about what we ask Kurt Lasher to do.
Now, how Washington will respond today is a bit of a mystery as well. For the 3rd consecutive week, emotion will play a big factor in a victory for Washington today. Now, Ken, there's been a lot of second guessing about last week's setback to Colorado. 4 cracks at the goal line, 2 touchdown passes were dropped in that final series.
Well, you've got to play to your strengths in the scoring zone, and it might have been nice had Greg Lewis or Mark Brunell been able to run the football down there. They've made some big plays already this year, particularly against USC. Right up to this point, the passing game has not been statistically a strong point of the Husky offense.
And the interception to end the game, a 20-14 loss. But national championship hopes may have evaporated last week in Colorado, but conference championship hopes are still very much alive. And truth be known, better a loss last week than this.
Well, I thought that we kind of got ready to play and did our thing the first 2 weeks, and I think we stepped up to another level the last 2 weeks. I think the important thing is that we've got to stay up there. You know, there can't be any let-ups now with league play, and if we can maintain that, then I think we'll be okay. But if we have any games with these next 7 that we think we've got a cakewalk, then that's the time you get beat.
So emotion is a big factor today for Washington. Ken, your assessment of these 2 teams going in?
Well, the Sun Devils have got 3 challenges in front of them. They got to stop Greg Lewis and Mark Brunell on the ground. They've got to get pressure on Brunell. They've only had 5 sacks so far. And they would like to have the lead or be tied after 3 quarters. Under Larry Marmie, they are 11-0 in that situation. On the other hand, the Huskies would like very much to contain Leonard Russell, the big 6'3", 235-pound tailback, get pressure on this young quarterback early. Last year, they have had 16 sacks so far, and keep the pressure off their own quarterback. They don't want to have to throw the ball to win.
The road to Pasadena indeed goes through Tempe. The Huskies, a 7-point favorite, 17th ranked University of Washington, visiting Arizona State in the Sun Devils' 1990 conference opener. And kickoff is coming up following these messages on College Football 90.
College Football 90 is brought to you by Qualmed Health Plan. Quality is their first concern. And by Rainier. Round here, it's Rainier.
It is a warm, pleasant afternoon in the land of the desert. The Southwest is cooking today as Washington visits Arizona State. The temperatures will approach the upper 90s today. It's currently 94 degrees with a humidity of 28% and winds out of the southwest at 5 miles per hour. And Ken Woody, the hot part of the day down here is really the early afternoon between about 12 and 3:30. So we really shouldn't have much of a factor heat-wise this afternoon.
Well, the fact that this game time was moved for television may very well have been a break for the Huskies because, as you did mention, it's a lot cooler at this point of the day than it would have been around 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Arizona State will kick off to start this game to the Washington Huskies. And Washington will send Tommy Smith and Walter Bailey back to receive at their own goal line. Pete O'Brien actually will step back for Washington. He's the one on the left. Tommy Smith on the right, and Steve Roush will kick it off for Arizona State. Arizona defeated UCLA this afternoon. There are 2 unbeaten teams left in the Pac-10 Conference. Both of them are here today. Washington is 1-0. This is the conference opener for Arizona State. And we're underway. It'll be Bryant, and he will down it in his own end zone. So Washington will begin 1st and 10 from its own 20-yard line. And Mark Brunell will come out to quarterback the Washington Huskies.
Mark Brunell is only 9th in the Pac-10 in passing. He's rushed for over 180 yards so far. Do you know one thing, Keith? His yards per completion rate is higher than Todd Marinovich, Musgrave, and Gosson at WSU.
Huskies start 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Turner and Lewis, the backs out of the eye. This is Lewis, and he's dropped for a 5-yard loss. Darren Woodson, the outside linebacker from Phoenix, up to make the stop.
Well, Keith, the Huskies have run a lot more screen passes this year than they normally do. Woodson has obviously been working on that. Huskies wanted to get Brunell off with a safe completion. The fact that it was complete and they didn't get yards, I don't think will hurt the Huskies at this stage. Just important that Brunell get some success early and get settled down.
2nd and 15. Lewis, perhaps a yard. Scott Woodford in to make the stop for Arizona State.
Washington offensive line, it's a big one. 6'4.5", 288 pounds. Pacoa and Kirkland, leaders up there. This is a much faster offensive line than the Huskies have had in the past. Backs and receivers, Lewis leads the Pac-10 in rushing. Mario Bailey's averaging 16.5 yards per reception.
First 3rd down play for the Huskies today. Lewis out to the 23-yard line. It'll be shy of the 1st down. Brett Wallerstedt there to make the stop for Arizona State, the sophomore from Manhattan, Kansas. And Channing Wiles will come on to punt as Arizona State has held Washington on its first offensive series.
Well, this crowd is certainly behind the Sun Devils, trying to get them off to a good start. Before the game, Arizona State coaches were talking about how important it would be to stay with the Huskies early and allow their team to feel they had a chance to play with them.
Here's Channing Wiles, who unloaded a 62-yarder last week at Colorado, and Eric Gulliford is deep to receive. They're bringing everybody, and it's blocked and picked up by Moore. Touchdown, Arizona State. Derek Moore picked up the football after it was blocked and carried it into the end zone. And Larry Marmee said going in, the Sun Devils would have to make big plays. Here is one of them.
Well, he said they were going to have to do something, run a kick back, block a kick. Huskies protection not too good there.
Felipe Sparks blocked the kick.
And this is not a good way to get an important conference game going on the road, Keith.
And Mike Ritchie is on to attempt the extra point, which is good, and just like that, Arizona State has developed a quick 7-0 lead, and their offensive unit has yet to touch the football.
Here's a replay. Wiles does not look like he's taking too much time. Blocker came up on the right side of the Huskies inside the guard and up back. There were a lot of people there to pick up that football and score.
That's the first time since 1985 that the Huskies have had a punt blocked for a touchdown. Andre Todd from Oregon State, the last to accomplish the feat in October of '85. So 7-0. Kevin Preston Curvey blocked the punt. He is the young man from Seattle's Lakeside High School.
Well, Keith, if anybody on the Huskies was not ready to play this football game, this has got their attention. You look at it on the positive side, if there is such a thing, that everyone should be awake and ready to go now if they weren't before. Coach James had said, hey, you're not a competitor if you aren't ready for a game like this. Huskies currently are last in the league in kickoff returns, averaging a little over 16 yards per attempt.
Steve Roush is set to kick off. Beano Bryant, Tommy Smith standing at the Huskies goal line. 12:56 to play, first period. Arizona State with a 7-0 lead. This is Bryant from his own 7. Beano out across the 25-yard line, and the Huskies will start at their own 26.
The Arizona State front line are 6'4", 282 pounds. They've lost 2 starters so far. Can they get any pressure on the quarterback? Only 5 sacks so far this year. The linebackers, Woodson, Wallerstedt, are young and hungry, and they're around the football all the time. Secondary is outstanding. Watch number 29, Nathan LeDuc, preseason consensus All-American.
Brunell empties out the backfield on 1st and 10 from the Washington 26. Fraley out to the 30, where they'll give him forward progress.
Pretty nice. Go ahead. Pretty nice job by Brunell of staying alive there. That's something you don't see often in the Huskies without any backs at all in the backfield. Obviously trying to see what the Sun Devils are going to do with their underneath coverage.
It's the 2nd reception of the year for Joe Kralik, the 5'10" redshirt sophomore from Puyallup High School. 4-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 6 now for the Huskies. Turner and Lewis, the backs. Lewis for a first down, penalty flag, likely a hold. Lewis is out to the 40 before being dropped by Nathan LeDuc.
Well, there were 2 Huskies at the point of attack. Aaron Pierce, Dean Kirkland. I think one of those 2 are guilty of letting their hands get away from their body. Excellent blocking, really, by the Huskies. I'll tell you one thing I've noticed. The Arizona State secondary is flying up to meet that sweep, and if the Huskies have a halfback pass, I'm sure they might be looking for that opportunity as the game progresses.
Our referee today is Pat Flood. A 15-yard holding penalty against the Washington, or check that, a 10-yard penalty for holding against Washington to create a 2nd and 16 situation now. Ball backed up to the 20-yard line.
Well, this is 2 major errors right away, a block punt and then a major penalty taking away a first down. Huskies' resolve being tested early here, Keith.
2nd and 16. Lewis out to the 30. Struck down by Brett Wallerstedt.
Well, really, we would expect the Huskies to try to run the ball as much as possible. Right now, the Sun Devils have 1 nose guard, number 93, Arthur Paul, and they have nobody backing him up. The sports information director of Arizona State said if Paul got hurt, you might see him in there.
3rd and 6 now for Washington. They trail Arizona State 7-0. A blocked punt produced the points. Brunell going over the middle, but it's incomplete. Mario Bailey, the intended receiver. And for the 2nd time, Arizona State has held Washington's offense.
Keith, that was a break that ball was incomplete, because if it had been high enough and long enough, it was going to get intercepted.
And so now the crowd begins to become involved in this football game. Smaller than normal crowd, about 58,000 expected today.
Well, there's nothing like a 7-point lead to give you a reason to be loud and supportive.
Channing Wiles back to punt once again. First blocked punt of the season, and Felipe Sparks is back to receive at his own 21-yard line. Arizona State blocked Wiles' first punt today. Gets off a good kick. Sparks will fair catch at his own 25-yard line. And with 11:07 to play, first quarter, the Arizona State Sun Devils have built a 7-0 lead over the Washington Huskies. Teams remain in the Pacific 10 Conference. They're meeting one another today here at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. And Arizona State has a 7-0 lead on the strength of a blocked punt early in the first quarter. Kurt Lasher at quarterback for Arizona State. And there's a big play by the Husky defense to wrap up Leonard Russell. John Cook, the nose guard, there to make the stop.
Great play by the Huskies. You'll notice those linebackers playing very close on the line of scrimmage. Coach Lambright wants them there. Lasher at quarterback, 14 for 40 in 1989. 2 touchdowns against San Jose. Huskies want to get after him.
Second and 14 situation now for Arizona State. Lasher wants to pass. He'll keep, and he's driven out of bounds by David Hoffman.
Here's the offensive line for the Sun Devils. They average 6'6", 277 pounds. Mark Hayes is the leader of this group. Pretty good pass blockers. Although they've been bothered by injuries, this group is fairly well intact. Backs and receivers, leading rusher Leonard Russell, 6'3", 235 pounds. Eric Gulliford, a lot like Mario Bailey, can do a lot of things with a football, particularly after the catch.
Third down and 14 situation now. And Kurt Lasher wants timeout. So Arizona State expends its first timeout to discuss things here in the first half with 10:22 to play.
Keith, as I was mentioning early, Jim Lambright was telling us that he likes his linebackers right on the line of scrimmage. He feels they're much more effective. They can react to things. They're also going to be trying to fake a lot of blitzes and keep this quarterback from getting into a rhythm. They felt 2 weeks ago against USC that Marinovich really never knew when they were going to come and when they weren't. This led to a lot to his demise.
Well, Marinovich said, all I saw was purple. No numbers, no faces, just purple. And Larry Smith said following that USC game that Washington is much better than Penn State, and he has seen both of those clubs. And with Arizona's defeat of UCLA today, 28-21, Washington would be in the driver's seat with a victory today. It would be the lone unbeaten team remaining in Pac-10 conference play.
Well, if you look at the big play element so far for the Huskies, it has been their defense. They've made a lot of plays to create some momentum and create some situations for their offense. And I think that as the game stabilizes, they'll play to that strength and try to get Brunell where he can operate and Greg Lewis can run the football. Right now, it looks to me like Washington can run the ball at will.
They've got some great people up front. Travis Richardson, John Cook, Steve Entman, all playing very well. And then the linebackers, Jones, Hoffman, Fraley Collins, all playing well. Third down. Incomplete, and Lasher got popped as he released the football. And so that'll bring up a fourth down situation for Arizona State. Travis Richardson in from the weak side to unload on Kurt Lasher.
Lasher didn't really have much to throw to there. Ball was wobbly. Good coverage by the Huskies, showing 10 men up on the punt rush.
Here's Brad Williams to punt. Bino Bryant back at his own 32-yard line. From the 36, Bryant near midfield. A 39-yard punt by Williams. Bino Bryant back to the 49-yard line, and that's where the Huskies will take over on this possession. The intensity factor is something to be said as well. Missouri and Arizona State played a very unemotional game if you're a Sun Devil fan. But Arizona State looked like a world-beating team against Baylor. There was a great deal of intensity in that game. Against Missouri, though, it was lacking, Ken.
Yeah, well, a lot of times those non-conference games right before a real important conference games do nothing more than distract you. It looked like that's kind of looks like the way it is right now.
First and 10 from the 49. Mario Bailey into Arizona State territory down to the 46. Gavin Hill made the stop.
Right here we're going to look at A couple of things that the Huskies have got to keep in mind. They have inexperience at quarterback. That's got to be considered a weakness at this point. Passing game, statistically, they're completing less than 50% for only a little over 5 yards per attempt. Field goal kicking and distance on kickoffs has been a major source of concern right now.
2nd and 5 now. Turner and Lewis are the backs. Movement. Turner, the ball carrier, flags down. He picked up enough yardage for a first down. We'll wait and see what the flag is for. Nathan Leduc, the senior from Phoenix, who's a Thorpe candidate this year.
Looked like the right side of the defensive front for Arizona State jumped there. What amounts to a free play for the Huskies.
And they're going to decline the penalty and take the first down.
I would say with only one nose guard, it might be a good idea to run about 60 plays right in between the guards today. See how much endurance that young man has. Arthur Paul.
Paul, a junior from Washington, D.C., by way of Bakersfield Community College.
And he's down at being 305 pounds. Playing the whole day in this kind of heat. It's going to be a good physical test for him.
1st and 10 Huskies from the Arizona State 39. Lewis with a blocker inside the 30 down to the 27-yard line.
Great block by number 75 Lincoln Kennedy in front of Lewis there. Right now it appears the Husky front wall is just blowing the Sun Devils off the ball. Running this play to the strong side of the offensive formation. You see Kennedy, number 75, light up that's All-American Nathan Leduc he's knocking down. Excellent job. Darius Turner out in front too. Darius is one of the better fullbacks in the West Coast.
12-yard gain for Greg Lewis. 1st and 10. Option game. Brunell inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. 4-yard gain on the play. Adam Brass there for the tackle. And Ken, you thought going in that Mark Brunell grew up a lot last week. Even though he had the big game against USC, perhaps some more maturity came during the Colorado game.
Well, we can second guess those play selections down in the end zone late in the game, but whether they succeeded or not, you would hope that that experience would lend to the development of poise and maturity for this youngster.
2nd and 6. Ball on the Arizona State 23. Huskies trail 7-0. First quarter. Lewis inside the 15-yard line. Greg Lewis making something of nothing for Washington. Woodford on the tackle for Arizona State, and that's what makes this Doak Award candidate so valuable for Washington.
Well, it's interesting when defenses put pressure on Brunell and make him scramble around. Many times he makes a quick decision that ends up being percentage-wise the best decision. Situation like that, he just dumped it off to Greg Lewis. And I'm telling you, when this man has the football in his hands, one-on-one, I'd take him against anybody in the Pac-10. He is a great player. Breaks 3 tackles. Nice job by Brunell getting the ball to an available receiver. Very safe pass, big first down.
Picks up 9 yards on the play. Darren Woodson from Arizona State is being tended to now on the near sideline. He is shaken up in some fashion. He's the starting outside linebacker. And is Arizona State's leading tackler from 1989. He leads them in tackles this year as well, 5th overall in the Pac-10. That does not look good.
Woodson is a tremendous athlete. He's probably good enough to be a rover defensive back. It's like his knee would be a big blow for the Sun Devils.
Boy, and with his loss, were it to be critical, that would have the list growing to 6 now, the number of defensive starters unavailable because of injury to Arizona State.
It's funny how injuries go. A lot of times they'll go in waves. They'll either attack one position or one side on the football. Rarely do injuries kind of space themselves out and create less of a problem for the coaches.
1st and 10 Huskies at the Arizona State 13-yard line. Lewis inside the 10 down to the 7-yard line. Hard-earned yards for Greg Lewis. Nathan Leduc, the first one there for Arizona State.
Great blocks on the play by number 51, Dean Kirkland. and the fullback, Darius Turner. Huskies just blowing them off the ball in that pitch sweep.
Ball down to the 7-yard line. Lewis picked up 7 yards on that play. First and goal. Darius Turner near the goal line.
That play is designed to complement the pitch. Brunell faked the pitch to Lewis. Sun Devils overran it to their left. Darius Turner showing a lot of athletic ability and nifty footwork for a fullback. Made the cutback, found a soft spot. First and goal, Huskies.
From the Arizona State 2, this has been a wonderful drive for Don James' team. It began at the Washington 49 after a fine punt return from Bino Bryant, and they have marched right down the field methodically. First and goal. Lewis, touchdown, Washington. And we are but a point after touchdown away from being tied.
Well, Keith, the Huskies exhibiting a little bit of physical prowess there. Coming right at Arizona State, the Sun Devils are going to have a hard time this afternoon.
51-yard drive for the Huskies, capped by the 2-yard touchdown run from Greg Lewis. Mike Dodd on to kick the extra point. And it is good, and the Huskies have erased that deficit. 6:32 to play first quarter. Washington and Arizona State all knotted up in a game which will determine the leader in the Pacific 10 Conference. You're watching College Football 90.
Premiere of The Simpsons.
Washington marched 51 yards to the end zone to tie this game up.
Touchdown by Greg Lewis has been nearly unstoppable today. Last 3 yards of a 51-yard touchdown drive. Hansen kicks off for the Huskies.
And it'll go to Felipe Sparks from his own 10. Penalty flag on the play. We'll wait to see what the infraction is.
I think there's going to be a clip on number 32, Harkrader, Arizona State.
Indeed it is, and those are the types of mistakes that Larry Marmie was afraid of coming into this game.
Well, you know, one thing, the Huskies are great at covering kickoffs. Coach James had said early on that he would have rather kicked the ball out of the end zone every time. But 16 of 19 kickoffs have been for returns against the Huskies. They've only allowed 19.3 per return. Very aggressive job of covering the kick that time by the Huskies.
This will back Arizona State up to their own 9-yard line.
Now this is where you'd like to get after Kurt Lasher. Force a mistake here.
First and 10. Inside, it's Leonard Russell. Russell picks up about 3 on the play. Brett Collins made the tackle. He's starting in place of Jaime Fields, who is out this week. And Husky coaching staff is hopeful that he might be able to return a week from now. But Brett Collins has played very well in the absence of Jaime Fields.
Huskies have got a lot of depth, particularly at linebacker. I've not seen a team with as many outstanding linebackers as the Huskies and as many guys named Jones.
We'll go through that later. 2nd and 6 now. Russell across the 15 out to the 18-yard line, and we see a glimpse of what this young man can do carrying tacklers. One of them was Tommy Smith, the Husky free safety. Leonard Russell is starting in place of George Montgomery, the senior who has shin splints and is out of today's game. Montgomery has 3 of Arizona State's 5 rushing touchdowns this year. Russell has 1 of the others. He's averaging 49.5 yards a game for the Sun Devils this year. Two situation now for Arizona State. From the 18. whistle. Met in the backfield. There's the Purple Haze defense of Washington. First man there was John Cook, joined by Steve Entman up front. Cook, the senior from Olympia.
You watch the front line here. There are 8 people on the line of scrimmage. The linebackers slide to the hole. Fraley, Hoffman being blocked, but Cook was not. Made a great play.
Bino Bryant back to receive. Bryant, big hit right in the middle after entering Arizona State territory. A 38-yard punt from Brad Williams. 4:51 to play. First period. Washington and Arizona State all tied up at 7 apiece.
Well, field position has really shifted in the Huskies' favor, Keith.
They'll start this drive at Arizona State's 44.
Not a lot of pressure on a quarterback when you come in the ball and you're on the other side of midfield. No backs in the backfield.
46-yard line is where they'll start the drive. Brunell to Mario Bailey. Bailey down to the 34-yard line before being stopped by David Tisdale. Mario Bailey had the big game a week ago against Colorado. 8 receptions for 141 yards, all of them coming in the second half.
Well, the Huskies once again went without any backs in the backfield. That really spreads the field for Brunell. Also, if there's good coverage, it creates a lot of good running lanes for this young fella. He's reputed to have 4.6 speed. He's had 2 47-yard rushes so far, over 180 yards on the year.
First and 10 from Arizona State's 34. Lewis spins out of one tackle, and he's down to the 26-yard line. LeDuc, the tackler for Arizona State, all-conference selection a year ago.
Penalty flag on the play. I think the Sun Devils were offside.
And Washington will likely decline the penalty.
Well, it's apparent that the Sun Devils can't stay in a base defense and play the Huskies toe-to-toe. They're starting to jump around a little bit.
8-yard carry for Greg Lewis to set up the 2nd and 2 situation.
And traditionally in this area of the field, there tends to be a little more gambling and blitzing by the defense.
Darius Turner picks up a first down for Washington. Arthur Paul, the nose guard for Arizona State. First one there. And Washington, Ken, has put together another pretty impressive drive here. This one began at their own 46. The last time they had the football, they marched 51 yards to the end zone to tie it up.
Well, the best way to keep the pressure off your quarterback is to have good field position. Following the first 2 possessions, that has occurred. Brunell looks pretty solid handing off to Turner or Lewis. That offensive line is creating a lot of movement up front.
First and 10 from the Arizona State 22 now. Brunell will pass. McKay, incomplete. Orlando McKay, the native of Mesa, Arizona, a neighboring community to Tempe. He grew up in the shadows of Arizona State. The Sun Devils would not offer him a scholarship, so he went to Washington.
There is an instant that he's wide open, but he had to kind of turn. I'm not sure if the sun was in a factor, but pretty good throw. Good idea. Takes advantage of the fact the Huskies have been running the ball. Good play action fake. McKay gets behind the corner and right over there before the safety can get there.
So 2nd and 10. Here's the screen to Greg Lewis. He's got room. Lewis to the 15-yard line. Terrence Johnson, backup inside linebacker, made the stop.
Cannot say enough about how well the Husky offensive line is blocking. Ed Cunningham made an excellent block out there. You know, screen plays, it's difficult sometimes. You get those big 270-pounders out there trying to block 220-pound linebackers. This Husky offensive line is much sleeker and more mobile than those in the past.
Arizona State has another player down. Injury update on Darren Woodson, the outside linebacker. He has a sprained ankle. He may return to this game. It's Ed Cunningham. Adam Brass is the injured player for Arizona State. Cunningham at center. He's played very well this year. Replaced the All-American Bernd Brostek. There were a lot of question marks coming in this season, Ken, about how well Cunningham would do and what kind of drop-off there might be, but he's played quite well.
Well, I think the Huskies had some pretty good talent to work with, but when you have somebody like Keith Gilbertson to work with, this guy is one of the finest offensive line coaches and offensive minds in the college game today. If you listen to what Keith says, you're probably going to end up being a pretty good football player.
Keith Gilbertson joined the Husky staff a year ago after being the head coach at the University of Idaho for 3 seasons. 3rd and 3 from the 15. Lewis inside for a first down to the 11.
That is the first 3rd down conversion the Huskies have had so far. They are 1 and 3 on the afternoon.
Greg Lewis, 8 carries, 49 yards in this game. He has surpassed Tucson Tyler for the number 6 spot in the all-time rushing list in Washington. He has had a mammoth season thus far. He's attempting to become the first Husky running back to put together back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Gained 1,100 yards last year. First down. Lewis inside the 5 to the end zone. Did he get there? No, they're going to mark him down at the 1-foot line. Felipe Sparks prevented a touchdown.
I'll tell you, a super block at the point of attack by number 70, Supeli Malamala. That's a difficult block to sustain because it takes a while for the play to develop. But he just hooked his man till Lewis could make the cut. Dean Kirkland made a nice block too. Pierce kicks his man out. Great job by Malamala. Right now, the Arizona State cannot stop the pitch sweep.
Eric Crawford, Felipe Sparks saved the touchdown. 1st and goal for the Huskies. Lewis into the end zone, powering in. And Washington is in front, and a crowd roar goes up from the Husky fans assembled here in Tempe. Greg Lewis with his 2nd touchdown rush of the game. This one from a yard away.
Like I said, when you get down in the scoring zone, go to your strength. Right now, the leading rusher in the Pac-10 is Greg Lewis, and he's showing us why this afternoon. Lewis has got 10 carries, 60 yards, and 1 touchdown.
All in the first quarter. 2:10 to play, and here's Mike Dodd to attempt the extra point out of the hold of Mark Brunell. It is good, and Washington has moved right down the field. The last 2 times they've taken the football to build a 14-7 lead over Arizona State. Century mark once again.
Huskies showing a lot of excellent blocking up front. Great block there by number 76.
14-0 Washington lead. Travis Hansen to kick it off for Washington. Sparks from his 4. With room out across the 20 to the 23-yard line. Mark DeGrasse there to make the tackle for Washington. Huskies march 46 yards in their last drive, Ken, and they're very using a lot of efficiency with their ground game.
And a key block by number 76, Rick Schulberg, on that goal line play. Sorry, got tongue-tied, couldn't get it out. Huskies very much in charge up front.
Key play, the 10-yard rush down to the 1-yard line. Lasher for Arizona State on first down. Complete out to the 32-yard line. That's Kevin Snyder, the sophomore flanker from Fontana, California. Tommy Smith made the tackle for Washington.
The one thing about Kurt Lasher is he may be a little more mobile than Justin. And I think that the Sun Devils, in an effort to keep the pressure off Kurt, are going to move him around as much as possible. Try to stay away from that heavy pass rush the Huskies have.
9-yard gain on the play. It's 2nd and 1 now. Semino, the lone setback. He gets the football, and he's very near a first down. David Hoffman made the tackle. Played his high school football for Dan Lloyd, the former Husky linebacker.
Well, here are the problems the Sun Devils have got to worry about. They got a young quarterback making his first big-time start. They got a lot of injuries on defense, 5 starters, and turnovers have been a problem. They turned the ball over 4 times last week against Missouri. Right now, there's no way that Arizona State is going to run the ball to win. Lasher is going to have to throw the football. Sun Devils are going to have to open it up a little bit.
1st and 10 from the 34. Semino with room. One man to beat was Tommy Smith. And the free safety got him.
Nice job of blocking by the Sun Devils. It looked like the same play the Huskies ran. A power sweep. Semino, second-team fullback, has got a lot of speed. Nice job of blocking at the point of attack. Semino gets upfield. Nice tackle by Tommy Smith getting over there. He was the last man for the Huskies.
13-yard gain for Semino.
Those kind of big plays are very commonplace for Tommy Smith. He covers a lot of ground. A lot of times having him in the game is like 2 secondary defenders.
36 seconds remaining in the first quarter. On first down. Confusion in the backfield, and there is Steve Entman to take advantage of it for Washington. One of the Pac-10's leading sack men.
Well, this man is a wild competitor from Cheney, Washington. And Coach Marmee was very much worried about him. He felt that they were going to have to double team him all day, and hopefully that would give the Huskies somebody one-on-one situation up front. Travis Richardson being a very big play man for the Huskies. Those are the kind of things that are going to happen with an inexperienced quarterback, Keith. I thought, you thought, sack.
And the first quarter has come to an end here at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. The Washington Huskies erase a 7-0 deficit and lead the Sun Devils 14-7. We're pleased you've joined us for College Football 90.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to listen.
Brought to you by Washington Natural Gas. Gas makes sense. By Weyerhaeuser, the tree growing company. By Washington Mutual, the friend of the family. And by your Northwest Ford dealers. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Just right next to him will be fine. We're back at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. Washington Huskies and Arizona State Sun Devils both unbeaten in conference play. 2nd and 17 to start the quarter for Arizona State from their own 34. Closest man to the football was Washington's Eric Briscoe.
Chico Fraley came on a blitz that time, got right in Lasher's face. A lot of times pass pressure like that, you don't get to the quarterback, but you obscure his vision, and he throws the ball high. One of the things that Arizona State coaches were saying that Lasher is 4 inches shorter than Justin, has a hard time looking over pass rushers. Third is the case.
3rd and 17 situation now.
ASU 0 for 2 in 3rd down conversion so far.
Semino and Russell are the backs. Lasher feeling the pressure, airmails it, and it'll be 4th down. Steve Entman providing a lot of pressure from the outside. John Cook was starting to make his way through as well.
Well, they were trying to get a man out of the backfield there, but Brett Collins knocked him out of bounds and up on the bench. That's why those fans were booing there. But the collision occurred before the ball was thrown, so it was not excellent defense by the Huskies. Heady move by Collins.
Bino Bryant standing back at his own 21-yard line for Washington. Brad Williams to punt. Bryant to his 19. He's got room. Bino Bryant with one man to beat. Cuts back, and Bryant is on his way to the end zone. For the 2nd time this year, Bryant will score on a punt return. returns the punt for 6, and there's a big play from the Husky special team.
Well, we had talked earlier before the game, Keith. Arizona State has given up several fairly good-sized punt returns this year. We were predicting that Bino Bryant was just the guy to break one. Great blocking. Tommy Smith was there if necessary, and all he had to do was not clip. Basically, Arizona State punt coverage just overran the play.
Bryant returned a 52-yarder against San Jose State to help the Huskies beat the Spartans, and today he's returned one 81 yards for 6 points. Dodd's kick is good, and Washington is out in front 21-7.
Dodd is shaking his head there. That ball was almost blocked. Line drive affair. There will not be an asterisk saying that ball was not high enough to not count. Goes through, it counts.
14:33 to play. Washington with a 14-point lead now, early second quarter.
These special team big plays can really take the starch out of. See, the Huskies have got a wall set up on the left side of the sideline there. Bino Bryant gets a lot of open field. He makes some good, intelligent decisions there, staying away from tacklers. Punter had no chance really to make the tackle. Bino Bryant's the best Pac-10 punt returner. He shows us why in that play. Oftentimes when you have a lot of depth at linebacker, it shows up in good special teams play. You have good-sized kids around 220 pounds who can run. This Husky team has got a lot of speed.
The Husky marching band set a small contingent along to entertain the fans here at Sun Devil Stadium. You know, Bino Bryant dedicates those punt returns to his former high school teammate Kevin Copeland, who passed away of a cardiac arrest during a high school game last year. He and Copeland were teammates at Dorsey High in Los Angeles, so he is on a mission whenever he's standing back there to take a punt. Sparks and Galbraith are deep to receive for Arizona State, and Travis Hansen, who won the kickoff duties, set to put it in the air. Sparks from his own 4. Fumble! Arizona State has recovered the football. Gavin Hill jumped right in there and grabbed the football before the white shirts could get their hands on it.
Well, great job of coverage there by number 30, Mark DeGrosse. Played off 2 blockers, got his right shoulder into the ball carrier, helped set up that fumble. Great job of coverage by the Huskies. There's DeGrosse taking on 2 blockers. You see the Huskies are playing with a lot of abandon. Going after the ball carrier, the ball is loose. A lot of purple around that football.
Seems like an eternity with the football laying there on the ground, doesn't it? 1st and 10 for Arizona State from its own 17-yard line. Lasher is 1 for 4 passing, 9 yards. He's been sacked once. Russell dragged down by John Cook. The senior from Olympia High School is having a fine game, Ken Woody.
He sure is, and I'm not sure that anybody on Arizona State can block him one-on-one. And if they double team him, they just leave somebody else open. Got some scores of action around the country.
Look at that, the top-ranked Fighting Irish go down. Miami beats number 2 Florida State, so Michigan will likely go to number 1. Auburn had a tough time with the Texters today, didn't they? Oklahoma's won 14 in a row against Oklahoma State now. 2nd and 10 after a no-gain play. Lasher wants to throw. Complete. Kevin Snyder with a reception to the 35-yard line. A nice athletic play. Chico Fraley was out there for Washington.
Great catch by Snyder. How Lasher got this ball off, you can see him take a hit right as he releases. Donald Jones right there, his hands in his face. That ball, you can't defend it much better without having pass interference.
Boy, Tommy Smith and Charles Mincy were both right there for Washington, along with Chico Fraley.
Well, you give the Sun Devils credit for a great catch there. Good defense, people right where they should be.
18-yard gain, biggest play of the day for Arizona State. And here's Russell. Look at all the white shirts gathering there. Huskies running to the football. First one there was Donald Jones.
linemen forced to play early, those Husky linebackers will play at the line of scrimmage, and as the offensive linemen move or pull, they will run through the seams created, and they have enough speed to run things down from behind.
Loss of 1 on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 11. The Huskies got a wake-up call in Seattle last year by Arizona State when the Sun Devils won that game, and their defense has played superbly since then, winning the last 3 games of the year and playing lights-out types of football this season. Lasher under pressure, nearly intercepted. Eric Briscoe was there, and a nice play by tight end Ryan McReynolds to break it up.
Cook and Travis Richardson are all over Lasher here. This is not a good way to get your first start. Briscoe might have had a chance for the interception, but right now the Huskies are putting a lot of pressure on Lasher, and they're getting to him. This guy, he's taking a physical beating so far.
And really, Arizona State has almost no depth at that position. Quarterback now, a redshirt freshman, Brett Powers, backing up Lasher were he to go down.
0 for 3 in third down conversions.
3rd and 11 now. Jones with lots of pressure. Entman chasing, and they'll drag him down. Shy of the first down, John Cook made the tackle. And Washington's fans here are starting to make some noise. Boy, Cook is having a big day. Williams back to punt for Arizona State. Bino Bryant, who returned it 81 yards. They'll kick it away from him this time, and it'll settle into the end zone. 11:50 to play. First half. Washington with a 14-point lead over the host Arizona State Sun Devils. You're watching College Football 90. Sunshine and blue sky, the backdrop for today's Pac-10 meeting between Washington and Arizona State. The Huskies with a 21-7 advantage, 11:50 to play, first half, and they'll take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Lewis across the 20 to the 21. David Tisdale made the stop for Arizona State. Lewis having another of his big days. 11 carries for 62 yards now.
Huskies enjoying the luxury of being able to have a couple of their backup offensive linemen in there. Cooney, Schulberg, Caligas.
We'll pronounce it right so his mom doesn't get mad at us.
Correction noted.
On 2nd down. Incomplete. Orlando McKay, the intended receiver. He sure wants to play well here, in as much as this is his hometown.
That's a second pass round to Orlando that has been slightly behind him. You know, some of the pass receivers were asked, what's the difference between a right and left-handed quarterback? And the ball, you know, there is a difference. The ball spins in entirely different ways, and when you're running one way across the field, it's going to be spinning into you, as it was in that situation. When you're running the other way to the outside, the ball will be spinning away from you, and it does take a certain adjustment by the pass receivers.
There are 5 left-handed quarterbacks in the Pac-10 this year. Brunell is one of them. 3rd down play. This is where Brunell is dangerous, out to the 30-yard line. He took quite a hit that time from Felipe Sparks, and the offensive linemen are there protecting him. Michael Williams, Felipe Sparks were both there for Arizona State. You can see that they don't want their quarterback messed with.
Gee, someone wood hooked to Greg Lewis there. It's an example of a bump coverage that they have in the secondary. Good coverage by the secondary Arizona State. Huskies now 2 for 4 third down conversions.
And Brunell has 2 carries for 13 yards in the game. 1st and 10 from the 30. Lewis for a couple. Tucson Tyler to 6th on the all-time Husky rushing list. Looking for his 5th consecutive 100-yard game of the season. He has 9 coming in, and he's looking for Hugh McElhaney's school record of 12, set in 1949 to 51.
Averaging over 5 yards per carry today.
He's the Pac-10's leading rusher. Second down, here's Lewis with room. Out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Greg Lewis, another first down carry for the Huskies.
Great blocks, point of attack, number 56, Pete Kaligas. Number 31, Darius Turner. Right now, the Huskies putting on a clinic in blocking the power sweep. Arizona State is powerless at this point.
Those guys right there on the defense, the line, listening to Randy Hart, their position coach, who've done a tremendous job today as well. On first down, here's Lewis on the receiving end. With room, Lewis may go to the end zone. One man to beat is Sparks. He's driven out of bounds at the 7-yard line.
Very simple play. No backs in the backfield. The coverage on Lewis is a little deep. Brunell notices it, fires the ball out. What better situation can you have? The best running back in the Pac-10, one-on-one. Missed tackle.
Boy, he put a move on Aaron Crawford there.
And Crawford assumed he might have been going out of bounds, too. You can't assume anything against a great running back.
Down to the 7-yard line.
And that goes in the book as about a 40-yard completion. Actually, it was 1-yard pass.
First and goal from the ASU 7-yard line. Huskies knocking on the door again. Bryant down to the 2-yard line.
Caligas, another great block. Arizona State bringing in a couple more defensive linemen. You're either going to have to do that. You're going to have to get one more defender up front on the run, or you're going to have to blitz somebody from the secondary and try to guess where the Huskies are going to run the football.
Second and goal from the 2. Turner and Bryant are the backs. Busted play. Brunell, touchdown, Washington. And Washington has built a 20-point lead with 8.5 minutes to play in the first half.
As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, play to your strengths in the scoring zone. Get the hands of this young fella or Greg Lewis, and the points will come. Sun Devils actually in pretty good position on the outside. Force Brunell to turn inside.
Here's Mike Dodd onto the extra point. It is good, and the Huskies are out in front by 3 touchdowns with 8:28 to play. First half, we're pleased you've joined us in Tempe for College Football 90. Fans are here. They made the trip from Seattle to Tempe to watch their 17th ranked team take on Arizona State. Travis Hansen has been real busy today. The freshman from Spokane kicking off again. This time a short kick. Galbraith out across the 30-yard line. Huskies marched 80 yards in 7 plays. The 44-yard pass to Greg Lewis. The key exchange there.
Right now, the Arizona State offense has got to get a little bit of control at the line of scrimmage. They need to get some first downs. Got to feel being 7-point underdogs that if they could close it to 28-14 by halftime, they'd still have a chance in this football game. They cannot risk being 3 and out, not take up any clock.
First and 10. Inside it goes. That's Kelvin Fisher. David Hoffman, the tackler for Washington. There's the Husky offensive backfield. Darius Turner saying hello, and Greg Lewis saying hi to mom and dad as well.
Greg Lewis should be very good friend to Darius Turner. He's one of the best blocking fullbacks I've seen in a long time, and he's a great running threat as well.
5-yard gain on the play at 2nd and 5 now from the 38. Flea flicker. There's receiver Snyder into the end zone for the touchdown. They used it last week against Missouri, or actually had it used against them, and they come back this week and burn Washington.
That's a great play call, and it's working the Huskies' defensive pursuit against them. You can see everyone's reacting. Dana Hall I don't think he was responsible for that area of the field. Tommy Smith is the free safety and should have been in the middle. But the Huskies are so run conscious, and at this point they've had no reason not to be. Excellent call by the Arizona State coaching staff.
Kevin Snyder on the receiving end of a 62-yard touchdown pass from Lasher, and John Cook is in a bit early on the point after touchdown. We'll see if he was perhaps pulled offside by movement on Arizona State's offensive line. Mike Ritchie on to attempt the extra point. He is 7 of 8 this year as point after touchdown kicker.
Well, evidently the center flexed his fingers or something, and Cook did what every good defensive player does. He looks at the football. When it moves, he moves.
Kevin Snyder has 2 receptions in this game for 80 yards. The most recent, the 62-yard touchdown reception. Lasher is now 3 of 7 passing. One of the completions, though, for a...
That was a great call.
They'll back him up 5 yards, and Ritchie will attempt the extra point. It is good, and Arizona State is back within 2 touchdowns now with 7.5 minutes to play here in the first half.
Here's a replay of the play. You can see the Huskies had every reason to react to run. It looked like run. Last second, Lasher throws it deep. Smith is caught upfield.
Charles Mincy had 1 grasp at him.
Those are the kind of plays that will work from time to time against a very aggressive, pursuing football team. Right now on the sidelines, the defense has got to feel, hey, fellas, they got us on that one, but they've not been driving it down the football field.
College Football 90 is a copyrighted presentation of the Kelly Television Company, and any rebroadcast, retransmission, duplication, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the expressed written consent of Kelly Television and the University of Washington is prohibited. 28-14, second quarter, 7.5 minutes to play.
Well, that amounts to the wake-up call for the Huskies. Don't lose your intensity here. The Sun Devils have got a lot of weapons. Should not be taken lightly.
Tommy Smith and Walter Bailey are deep to receive for Washington. Smith in his end zone. Bino Bryant will tell him to sit down, and he does. The Huskies take it over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. One thing that touchdown pass did as well, Ken Woody, is bring the crowd back into this game, and the Huskies have done a reasonably good job of taking them out of it.
Well, when you look at it, and Coach James will probably point this out at halftime, Arizona State has had 2 big plays, a block punt and a flea flicker. They have not been driving the ball. They've not been stopping the Huskies. Huskies have just got to maybe calm themselves down a little bit and watch for those kinds of things, the big play situations.
First and 10, Washington. Movement on the lines, and we'll let them sort this one out.
Dead ball, offsides, on the defense. Repeat, first down.
It's the third time today the Sun Devils have jumped off at the snap of the football. Gavin Hill was the guilty party. That's something you don't want to do, is give the offense a 1st and 5.
Lewis out to the 28-yard line for a gain of 3. Wallerstedt made the tackle. Young man who's a sophomore from Manhattan, Kansas. He was born in Tacoma. His father was in the United States Air Force, now retired.
And he's one of the Sun Devil defensive players who's playing a little bit hurt. He just came in with a very sore neck. That's the kind of injury a linebacker, with all the hitting that he does, really doesn't like to have in a football game.
2nd and 1 situation now. Ball at the 29. It's Lewis again for the first down. Out to the 34. Wallerstedt, the first one there.
Key block by number 51, Dean Kirkland, on the play. As we mentioned, the Husky offensive line is much more mobile. You can see the kinds of pulling plays. They will not hesitate to pull either the strong or weak side go.
Brunell will run. He's out to the 4.
I think there's it. Scrambling around.
Coach, we're on the air tomorrow morning at 10 on KCPQ 13 Fox and at 11 o'clock on KAYU Fox 28 in Eastern Washington. Second to get involved.
Another situation, the Huskies had no backs in the backfield. Brunell looking for an open receiver quickly. Tried to dump the ball out to Arizona. Nice job by the Arizona State front line of getting their hands up. That's half a rush. Somebody getting their hands in the quarterback.
Yards shy of the century mark here in the first half against State. best is 157 against.
Greg is a real workhorse. He can make the hard yards inside. He's obviously a threat as a pass receiver. He's made a lot of big plays for this offense the past 2 years.
1st and 10 now. There's McKay in Arizona State territory to the 38-yard line. Wallerstedt brought him down. Orlando McKay with his first reception today.
Very simple pass route. Everybody went hooked about 12 yards deep. It was zone coverage by the Sun Devils. Riddell did a nice job of stepping up and throwing to the open man.
17-yard gain.
You see the cornerback outside and the safety.
Huskies on the move again. 1st and 10. Brunell out to the 40. Arizona State. In to make the tackle.
You know, watching the game from up here, Keith,
Second and 6. Now the ball to the 34. Bill Stanley was there along with Brett Wallerstedt, who made the initial contact.
Linebackers are now just like the Huskies are doing to them. Caused the Huskies some problems there. The Arizona State like to play about 5 yards.
Heavy pressure. Down goes Brunell on a penalty flag. Israel play the first.
coverage.
Snapper. It will land in the
With a great deal of labor. He's not throwing a lot of throw. A young quarterback will do.
Briscoe's 4th interception, 1990. Larry Marmee is just shaking his head. First and 10 Huskies. They're McKay. Down. Stay. Washington has Jim Neville.
Kirk.
Voiced that concern on several occasions. They had problems. And you can
Sure.
Rainier Beer wants to grocery groceries.
back Arizona. Yet halftime is arrived at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. Washington Huskies fourth. Impression of the first half of this. Game. Got their Washington's been very Washington Huskies lead the Arizona State Sun Devils by 14 at halftime, and we are set to get the second half underway here at Sun Devil Stadium. It'll be Felipe Sparks and Kevin Galbraith back to receive for Arizona State, to take the kick from the Huskies' Travis Hansen. Sparks out across the 25 and still on his feet to the 29-yard line for Arizona State.
College Football 90 is brought to you by Qualmed Health Plan. Quality is their first concern. And by Rainier. Round here, it's Rainier.
Arizona State starts 1st and 10 from its own 29-yard line. First drive of the second half for the Sun Devils, led by Kurt Lasher. Fisher out across the 30. Brett Collins in on the tackle for Washington.
We said at the beginning of the broadcast that the Huskies were going to have to contain the rushing game. And Russell, highly regarded tailback, only had 6 carries for 4 yards in the first half. Huskies very strong up front.
Second and 6 situation. Snyder brought down at the 35-yard line by Chico Fraley, the arm tackle. Snyder has 3 catches now in this game. One of 2 receivers in the contest for Arizona State.
Big third down for Arizona State. They were only able to convert one of them in the first half.
3rd and 3 situation. Incomplete. He was looking for Eric Gulliford on the near boundary, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation for the Sun Devils.
Huskies have really kept Gulliford off the board so far this game. He's a lot like Mario Bailey, a little guy, exceptional jumping ability, and a real good ball carrier after he catches the football.
Bino Bryant back to receive for the Huskies. The kick from Williams, and it's a fake. He's on his way. Williams out to the 40-yard line.
Very close, Keith.
That's the 2nd week in a row that an opponent has tried a fake punt against the University of Washington. Shane Paukoa eventually made the tackle, and Williams is shaken up on the play. See it again. He was off and running from the moment the snap came to him. And they're going to measure.
Nice job by Jay Berry of getting to the outside and defeating the block of the lead back. And if they don't make this, I think it's directly attributed to Berry's heads-up play.
They got it. Boy, and Larry Marmee is quite relieved. That's a gutsy call deep in your own end.
Well, Keith, we had said they had made a 3rd down conversion. That was not true. They're 0 for 6 in the game, and they're 1 for 1 on 4th down. Well, Larry Marmee is pulling no punches today. He's going to do everything he can to get an upset.
They trail by 14 points with 13:23 to play here in the 3rd period, just underway. Keith Chipman and Ken Woody, Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe. We're pleased to join us in College Football 90 for our coverage of this Pac-10 game. 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Fisher, the lone setback. And it comes to him, and he's met immediately. Big play from Brett Collins.
Well, you notice the Huskies celebrating after that play. Yesterday, Jim Lambert Cartwright was telling me that's something that they practice, and he wants to make sure that they do it away from the offense so they don't get the feeling that they're trying to intimidate them or rub their noses in it. Big play. They want to play emotional. They're going to get around each other, high five, a lot of enthusiasm. This is a big hit. Brett Collins as a backup has really come on for the Huskies.
It's going to be tough for Jaime Fields to win his job back if he continues to play that way. Fisher to the 35-yard line. And that Husky defense has come to play. Eric Briscoe made the tackle.
Well, you would assume the way that they had been pressuring Lasher in the first half that a draw play would be a good call. The Huskies playing very much under control there. You know, Lasher was only sacked once, Keith, but he was hit right as he threw about 3 other times. Maybe that's one reason why it looked like there was not a lot of zip on the football.
He went 7 for 14 last week. Threw 1 interception against Missouri. He's hit as he unloads this time, and it's incomplete. And Arizona State fans thought there should have been a flag thrown in the play for pass interference, and Lasher took quite a pop as he released the football.
Well, that was snap, crackle, pop. Jones, Hoffman. The Huskies had a blitz and brought 8 people there. 7 rushers. Lasher fortunate to avoid the sack.
Huskies have a return on here. Williams' kick is going to bounce at the 20. Bryant takes it and steps out of bounds at the 23. A 42-yard kick. 11:43 to play here in the third quarter. Washington with a 28-14 advantage. You're watching College Football 90.
He stirs in the land of dawning. He stirs now in the age of wandering. Now on the trail of beauty, he stirs.
Some fans trying to watch the game from the bluff across the way. Sun Devil Stadium, which seats almost 75,000, will be the site of the 1993 Super Bowl game.
Well, the Rattlesnakes keep down the attendance up in that area, Keith.
Got that right. First and 10, Huskies. They'll start at their own 24-yard line. Lewis breaks a tackle, and he's out to the 29.
Should have been a face mask penalty there. Number 72, David Dixon, got his hand out trying to stop Lewis. It's amazing that no official saw that. It was pretty blatant. Not intentional, but someone trying to make an arm tackle.
It's David Dixon. Israel Stanley came over to make the tackle.
That actually shows a lot of the strength that Greg Lewis has, because although his head turned, his body didn't stop moving forward.
Picked up 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 4. Greg Kilpack, check that, Mark Kilpack, over the middle to the 40-yard line for a first down. Kilpack with a first down play. Wallerstad and Brass in on the tackle, and that's the first reception this year for Mark Kilpack, the senior out of Beaverton, Oregon.
Great job by Greg Lewis here of picking up the Woodford blitzing linebacker, allowing Brunell to be able to step up and deliver the football. I'll tell you what, Greg Lewis is one of the best all-around football players that you can have the enjoyment of watching.
Here's a guy who should be getting Heisman recognition, but the publicity machine really isn't working at the University of Washington to create that right now.
Well, I'd sign a petition.
Here he is again.
He's very atypical of the I-formation tailbacks who go all out when they're running the football and then take a blow when someone else carries the ball. Lewis is a very conscientious blocker.
He's about to go over the century mark. He has 18 carries for 96 yards. Senior from Ingram High School in Seattle.
Huskies have a very good chance of winning the football game in a game that Lewis gets over 100 yards.
2nd and 5. Darius Turner met at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. And last week was the first time that Lewis had gone over the century mark and the Huskies had not won.
arranged through Northwest Airlines, serving Seattle with 6 daily nonstops to Southern California. Northwest, being the best is all they want to be.
9.5 minutes to play in Tempe. The Huskies leading 28-14, and the crowd making some noise now. Lewis stopped short of the first down. He had to get to midfield. Gained 4 on the play.
Number 72, David Dixon, did a terrific job of fighting off a block there and making a one-arm tackle of Greg Lewis. As we said, Greg is a very strong kid. Dixon showing good strength there and keeping the Huskies from getting that first down. They were 3 for 7 the first half, 0 for 1 so far in the second.
And Lewis is now over the 100-yard mark for the 5th time this season. That's the 10th time this year, in his career that is, that he has eclipsed the century mark. Eric Gulliford is back to receive the punt from Channing Wiles. Here's the kick. A high kick from Wiles. Gulliford will let this fall into the end zone. A 55-yard punt. And when we come back to Tempe, we'll find out what the Huskies do offensively. No scoring in the third quarter thus far. Washington leading Arizona State 28-14. A 51-yard punt from Channing Wiles to the end zone. And Arizona State will take over 1st and 10 at its own 20. Here's an interesting stat. Total offense. Washington with 366 yards to Arizona State's 116. Boy, it's been a big day for the Husky offense. Lasher passing, complete. A fine catch from Eric Moss, the backup flanker. Charles Mitzi with the hit.
Good job by Moss of coming back to the football. The coverage was right there. A situation like this, coaches will tell that wide receiver he's going to be right on your hip, so come back to the football. As it was, Mitzi got his hand in there and almost knocked it loose. Excellent defensive coverage. 2nd and short for Arizona State.
9-yard gain.
Well, the Sun Devils have 8 minutes to get 2 touchdowns.
Moss grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. Movement on the line of scrimmage, and the flags fly.
Right guard there, number 67, Bob Robertson. I'll tell you, that makes coaches pull their hair out.
Robertson, a junior college transfer from Cerritos College, and he's a more mature young man than a lot playing college football. He spent a few years in the Marine Corps before coming back to college.
Well, the coaches are going to say, Bob, all you had to do was stand there and the quarterback runs by you for a first down. Now it's 2nd and 6. This is not a great defense to be trying to make that situation up.
Arizona State has been penalized 4 times in this game for 25 yards. Second down. That pass complete. Moss once again. Tommy Smith made the tackle, and Lasher is starting to develop a bit more confidence here in the second half. They're throwing passes which are catchable to develop that confidence.
Well, the one thing is they're taking some quick drop passes, so there's not going to get a lot of pass rush in his face. As we said earlier, the Huskies had sacked him a couple times, but more than that, they had been after him all day physically. Big edge and first downs for the Huskies.
1st and 10 now for Arizona State from the 31. Russell still moving forward out near the 35-yard line. Steve Entman there first for Washington.
Russell is a very highly touted junior college running back, 6'3", 235 pounds. And Arizona State coaches were telling us that they consider him at that size still a good breakaway threat.
Last week he carried 17 times for 101 yards against Missouri in that disappointing 30-9 loss to the Tigers. second down. Russell again to the 35. Fraley, the first one there for Washington. You know, and Missouri looks a lot better now. That loss to Missouri isn't as painful because they come out and lose to Colorado by 2 today. Bob Stahl's club's pretty good.
Well, I think that if anything, that game showed that at this level, Division I college football, that if you come up and you're not into it, you can be embarrassed by anybody. Missouri obviously is a better team than they showed against Indiana. They're probably not that much better than they showed against Arizona State in the long run.
Third down, 6 yards to go. Incomplete. They were looking for the tight end, Ryan McReynolds. David Hoffman.
ASU has failed to convert a single third down situation so far. They're 0 for 8.
And the punter, Brad Williams, will come on once again. Bino Bryant is deep to receive for Washington, standing back at his own 25-yard line. He's already uncorked one for a touchdown tonight. Williams with a high, long kick, forcing Bryant back to his own 6. And again, they've got the wall set up. Bryant out to the 29-yard line. A 54-yard punt. And Bino Bryant brings it back out to the 29. 5:27 to play, third quarter. We're coming back to Tempe in just a moment. Washington 28, Arizona State 14. With 5:27 to play here in the third quarter at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. The winner will claim sole possession of first place in the Pacific 10 Conference. First and 10 Huskies. They start at their own 29. And it's Lewis. And a penalty flag is thrown. Tisdale in to make the tackle for Arizona State.
Well, I think they're going to call either Kirkland or Malamala for holding. Huskies came out in 2 tight ends, which is a good-looking front against this kind of defense. It has 1 nose guard on the roster. Huskies have just the running backs to pound it out against this kind of defense.
And so a holding penalty called against the University of Washington. Supele Malamala. 6'6", 305 pounds, a junior from Hawaii. He was born in Congo.
I wonder if that's a good recruiting area, if they're volcanoes or...
Obviously, Jim Lambright has it because it's overseas and he can spend some time on the beach while looking for players.
And he comes back with a player and a good suntan.
First and 18 now after the holding penalty. Ball's at the 21-yard line. Brunell wrapped up and dropped at the 25-yard line. Tisdale, in place of Darren Woodson, has played quite well. Woodson left the game in the first half with a sprained ankle and has not returned.
Well, Kirkland and Cunningham exchanged assignments here. You see Kirkland coming around and blocking on the linebacker. Actually, I think Brunell should have cut back to his right. He had a little more running room out there. That no back set really spreads out a defense and gives an advantage to a quarterback who can run.
Second and 13. Incomplete. They were looking for Mario Bailey.
Well, just as Arizona State has not been able to get the ball to Gulliford, I don't think Bailey has had a catch today, Keith.
He has not, after having 8 a week ago against Colorado. Teams are probably starting to look to him as a guy you'd want to take out of a game plan.
Well, that's the third time tonight that Brunell has thrown to his left and the ball has been behind a receiver. There's still some growing pains going on in this relationship between the quarterback and his wide receivers.
Third and 13. The crowd starting to get loud here. Incomplete, looking for McKay. LeDuc and Sparks providing coverage, and that'll bring up another Husky fourth down. Brunell not at all pleased with that series of plays for Washington.
But Brunell does not look real comfortable in the drop back mold, Keith.
Channing Wiles is on to punt for the Huskies, and Eric Gulliford is back at his 35-yard line to receive for Arizona State. Gulliford from the 25. A 50-yard punt from Channing Wiles, who's been kicking the ball well the last couple of weeks. Gulliford out to the 35-yard line. They'll spot it at the 34. Mark Jones drove him out of bounds, and that's where Arizona State will take over 1st and 10. Well, for those of you who are fans of The Simpsons, time to get excited. Just 5 more days till you can park yourself in front of the television set and live through an all-new episode of The Simpsons. You can catch it here on Fox Thursday night at 8. First down. Semino, the ball carrier. Hoffman, the first one there for Washington.
That's only the second time that Semino's carried the ball tonight after getting 10 yards in the first half, Keith. One thing relating back to the Huskies' last possession, you really want to stay ahead in the count. You don't want to get in a situation where they have to pass to make the first down. Husky defense getting the defense as sent in from the sidelines.
Second and 8. Semino and Russell are the backs. Dropped. Kevin Snyder had it in his hands. Check that. Eric Moss had it in his hands and dropped the football.
The Huskies playing a 2-deep defense there. Moss was right where he should be, behind the corner and in front and outside the safety. And that ball was thrown right on the money, Keith. Steps up, delivers a high, hard one. Perhaps Moss was thinking the sideline was closer than it was, but that's a big, big play. Third down. ASU is 0 for 8 so far tonight.
Those are catches you have to make at the college level. Lasher 6 of 16 tonight. One of them for a touchdown. Incomplete. Ryan McReynolds, the tight end, was the intended receiver. Tommy Smith was there with coverage, and it'll be 4th down. Greg Lewis with 100 yards rushing in the game. Arizona State's net yards rushing 31. Williams on to punt. Trying to keep the ball away from Bino Bryant more and more now.
Huskies were setting up a wall to the wide side of the field there.
And so it'll be 1st and 10. Washington now at its own 16-yard line.
Well, that side return is very good against a team that has given up punt returns before, because all week you're drilling them on covering, and sometimes they'll forget their lane, zero in on somebody, and then somebody with speed like Bino Bryant can get to the outside. Huskies have a lot of linebackers and defensive players on their special teams who can run. That depth really shows up, not only on defense, but in their special teams also.
1st and 10. Lewis out to the 19. Wallerstedt made the stop. Well, you saw that stat about rushing numbers. That's a real tribute to the Husky defense, which is ranked 1st in the Pac-10, 2nd in the country against the rush, behind only Miami's Hurricanes.
Well, Coach James had mentioned he didn't feel that they had really played against a good rushing team yet, and they had not been tested, so those statistics might have been a little misleading. I think Colorado's a pretty good rushing team. They ended up with a net 183 yards, and with a team like that that's as one-dimensional as Colorado is, those are excellent statistics defensively.
2nd and 8. Lewis out to the 30. Lewis to the 39-yard line. Another big gain for the senior from Seattle's Ingram High School. Eric Crawford brought him down after a 20-yard pickup.
Well, this is what we'd call in the old days a perfect play. See Cooney pulling there. Excellent blocking. Receivers downfield. Aaron Pierce made a key block. Greg Lewis knows where to make those cuts.
First down. Here's Bino Bryant. Penalty flags down. Bryant out to midfield. But 2 flags are down now. LeDuc and Crawford made the tackle on Bino Bryant, who is in to spell Greg Lewis.
Excellent job by Turner of blocking the strong safety out. Arizona State has not done a very good job of collapsing those running lanes down on the sweep, Keith. They're just stringing it out. There's just way too wide a lane. What you want is your safety to come down and pin those people inside, so they have to cut back into the pursuit.
2 holding fouls cited against Washington. Boy, and Don James is not at all pleased on that Husky sideline.
Well, if there was holding, it was not on Turner, who cleanly blocked his man. Dean Kirkland got his too.
And there's Don James. Husky coach in his 16th year, his 20th overall. Led them to 11 bowl games in the last 13 years.
Well, here's a situation. You want to get 10 yards. You don't want to put Brunell in a position where he has to throw the football for the first down. Screen pass might be a kind of a call that you'd like here, or a draw play.
It's the 3rd Husky penalty in the game. They've been penalized 30 yards now. Bino Bryant will remain in the game for Greg Lewis. Darius Turner has played well today. Had a lot of help up front from the offensive line.
Husky's going to go with 3 wide receivers. Joe Kralik has come on, replacing Turner.
It's a 1st and 20 situation for the Huskies from their own 29. Bryant back against the grain and out to the 41. David Dixon made the tackle.
Huskies are doing a very nice job of setting that screen up. See those linemen staying in there till the very last instant. Look at them run when they get out in front. Nice job by Adam Cooney. This man weighs 275 pounds. A lot of the work that James and his staff have done in the offseason to make the Huskies offensive line faster really showing up tonight, Keith.
2nd and 9 from the 40 of Washington. Here's Lewis across midfield for a first down. Greg Lewis wrestled down by Eric Crawford. He's having an all Pac-10 kind of year.
Credit number 78 Adam Cooney and number 76 Rick Schulberg with big blocks here. You're going to see him pull from the left side of your screen, come around. Schulberg kicks out. Cooney gets a linebacker. The rest is done by a great running back leading the Pac-10 in rushing so far, Greg Lewis. Now that's taking pressure off the quarterback. Short little screen pass and then give it to the best runner in the league. 1st and 10.
46 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. Huskies on the move again. Here's Lewis inside the 40. Terrence Johnson in on the stop for Arizona State. And Greg Lewis has been a gem tonight for the Huskies.
He's coming out for a little bit of a breather. I'll tell you what, when Bino Bryant comes in, the speed and the power does not fall off at that position, Keith. Huskies have got a lot of depth at some key positions.
He gained 8 yards on that play, and he's now carried 23 times tonight for 142 yards. Greg Lewis young man who wants to go to law school one day. Mark Brunell has marched his team to a 28-14 lead after 3 quarters of play at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. We'll be back to the land of the desert. You're watching College Football 90. Keith Chipman, Ken Woody, athletic director at Lewis Clark State College, the former Husky and Cougar assistant coach, working with us tonight. Pleased you've joined us for College Football 90 in Tempe, Arizona. Greg Lewis has 205 total yards in this game. 142 of those on the ground.
Greg Lewis has enjoyed the luxury of some superior blocking up front. And the Huskies have had the luxury of being able to substitute some of their people up front and no fall off in production.
1st and 10 from the Arizona State 38-yard line to begin the 4th quarter. Lewis for perhaps 2. He's very near a 1st down, and coming up tonight following the game, stay tuned for a full night of Fox programming. Totally Hitting Video at 8 o'clock, followed by Haywire at 8:30, Cops at 9 o'clock, and American Chronicles at 9:30 this evening. All coming up on Fox. Picked up a 1st down on the play. The ball's at the 36-yard line. Kilpack inside the 30. Terrence Johnson with a tackle for Arizona State. That's the 2nd reception for Mark Kilpack tonight. Tight end playing in place of Aaron Pierce, who's still nursing a broken hand.
You know, I just saw 2 extra effort performances there. Greg Lewis, nice job of stepping up, blocking a linebacker, and downfield 15 yards away from the plate, Darius Turner's knocking a safety man flat on his back. Husky offensive team acts as if they really enjoy blocking.
2nd and 2 play. Brunell inside the 25. And that'll be another Husky 1st down. Washington playing like a Pac-10 Conference Championship contender tonight.
Well, they're definitely a contender. And right now, looking at the Arizona State players, you can see them, their hands on their hips. I think at this point, they're in the process of being worn down physically.
Well, recapping what's happened today, Arizona defeated UCLA, so the Bruins are no longer unbeaten in Pac-10 play. This is Arizona State's conference opener. The Huskies are the only other team without a loss in conference play. They're 1-0, the victory over USC. Lewis, penalty flag down. Lewis is to the 20. And Greg Lewis is hobbling now off the field, and this is not what the Husky coaching staff wants to see, nor do Husky fans. We will try to get an update for you on his status very shortly. A holding penalty called against Washington. That's going to back him up.
Well, you know, there's all sorts of holding penalties as they're working on Greg Lewis here. He doesn't appear overly concerned. But that's a holding penalty inside, and those kinds of things are not necessary. A lot of times between a guard and center exchanging assignments, one of the players will flip their wrist and try to grab the ankle of a nose guard. But really, the way the Huskies are coming off the ball, those kinds of penalties are very unnecessary. Penalties right now, the Huskies have 4 for 40 yards, and they've had 3 holding penalties in the 2nd half.
Greg Lewis appears to be all right. He's out of the game. Bean O'Brien has taken his place. 1st and 20. Brunell will run and has lots of room. Down to the 15-yard line.
Brunell put a fake on Brett Wallerstedt that almost dislocated his kneecaps. You see Brunell, one of the most dangerous things that can happen is to cover everybody, because now he's got to decide to run. Watch this move he puts on Wallerstedt. He's just left standing flat-footed.
And he gains 18 of the 20 yards needed for a first down. It's 2nd and 2 from the 16-yard line. Turner to perhaps the 11-yard line. Penalty flags are thrown, and that's going to be against Washington.
Well, Turner, I think, was accusing Arthur Paul, number 93, of holding on and twisting his ankle after the whistle.
And that'll back Washington up once again during this drive. The second time they've been penalized in the last 4 plays.
You'll see the whistle is blowing right now, but somebody has got a hold of the leg and is twisting it. Really wasn't.
The result of the play is a first down for Washington. Then there's a dead ball foul, personal foul on the offense. 1st and 25.
Well, that penalty is a dead ball foul. It comes after the first down was achieved. David Tisdale, I don't think, was really trying to twist his ankle, but running back never knows that. One thing about Mark Brunell, when you have him in the backfield and he is such an exceptional open field threat, it's almost like being in the wishbone. Your quarterback can turn a sack into a 30-yard gain.
So a personal foul penalty, dead ball, moves it back to the 25-yard line. And it appears that Washington will be able to make a first down, though they'd have to be inches from the goal line to do so. Ball rests just outside the 25-yard line of Arizona State. Lots of pressure. Brunell being chased by Hooks. Complete to Kilpack, who's down to the 11-yard line. A tremendous play from Mark Brunell.
A great play. Brian Hooks had his hands all over Brunell. Brunell, tell you what, he's a fighter. He will not concede anything. First, it looked like he's throwing the football away. Nice catch by Kilpack. One thing on the fake, Brunell was too far upfield. In this situation, here comes Hooks. That's a great play. Great play. Brunell is very creative in his reactions to adversity. Several times tonight, Arizona State has had him flushed and running, and he's dumped the ball to open receivers.
And that right there is Shane Collins being helped off the field. Be sure to join us on November 17th when we present Apple Cup 90. The Huskies visit Washington State live from Martin Stadium in Pullman.
Well, Shane Collins had been hurt coming into this game, Keith. He probably re-injured that knee of his.
2nd and 11. Ball at the 11-yard line. Lewis inside the 5. And a penalty flag goes down once again. Michael Williams, first one there to drag Lewis down.
Well, there's a certain amount of frustration down on the football field right now, Keith.
11.5 minutes to play in this contest. Washington leading Arizona State 28-14.
On the defense, automatic first down.
A personal foul, dead ball on Arizona State, an automatic first down. They'll take it half the distance to the goal, and it'll be 1st and goal for the Huskies.
Larry Marmy's probably saying, fellas, we got to keep our heads down here. They had the Huskies 1st and 24. Here's the hit on, oh, that's really a wide receiver roughing up a tackle. Rick Schulberg kept his head. That's kind of a ticky-tack call by an official, but they're trying to keep the game under control down there.
Washington looking to build upon its 14-point lead. Greg Lewis all alone for the touchdown. Third touchdown tonight for the young man from Ingram High School.
That's a backbreaker. Sun Devils had the Huskies 1st and 24. Let them off the hook. run the ball inside on every occasion down there. Leaves the option wide open.
Matt Jones really sold the dive, number 22, the redshirt freshman from Portland. Dodd's extra point is good, and the Huskies have moved out to a 35-14 lead with 11:19 to play here in the fourth quarter from Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe. Front by 3 touchdowns now after the 3-yard touchdown run from Greg Lewis. Travis Hansen will come on to kick it off for the Washington Huskies. True freshman, the lone true freshman playing for Don James' team this year. Sparks out of his own end zone. Out to the 17-yard line. Hillary Butler was the first one there for Washington. Washington's next opponent, Oregon, a big winner today over Utah State at Autzen Stadium in Eugene. Georgia Tech over Maryland. Some real upsets today in college football, Ken.
Well, that's what makes it an exciting sport that it is.
You see that Fresno State score? That's a huge upset. Northern Illinois.
Well, I think Northern Illinois got the fast break going. Right now, there are a lot of fans here in the stadium that have kind of given up their hopes for an upset here.
Idaho Vandals now 3-3. From the shotgun, here's Lasher. They're setting up the screen, and a flag is down. Russell out to the 26-yard line, perhaps the 27. Dana Hall made the tackle. And another Arizona State player is down with an injury. Illegal procedure. Now Lewis is fast closing in on his career high of 165 rushing yards in a game set against Purdue in 1989 at Husky Stadium.
Illegal procedure on the offense. 6 men on the line. Repeat, first down.
Here are the fans, Keith. No upset tonight, they've decided.
They had some excitement early when Arizona State blocked the punt, which ended Washington's first offensive series of the game.
Well, maybe it's an earthquake drill, and everyone's just filing out without panic.
Doing it in a very orderly fashion. Larry Marmee hopes that this doesn't become a regular occurrence this year when people are leaving the park with 10.5 minutes to play. Lasher to McReynolds, the tight end, but plenty of room. He's out to the 35-yard line. Tommy Smith made the tackle.
Charles Mincy did a real good job of fighting off a blocker there. He was the only player in the open field. He was able to turn it back into Smith. Smith's a great football player. Kind of overshadowed Nathan LeDuc as the highly touted ASU free safety. Pretty good speed for a tight end, McReynolds. 6'7", 254 pounds.
To the 37-yard line, a gain of 23 on that play. Lasher going long. Intercepted by Dana Hall at the 27-yard line. Dana Hall, the junior from Diamond Bar, California.
That was a great job by Hall. As you can see, as the ball is thrown up in the air, and it's going to hang up there a little bit. Number 31, Victor Cahoon, had position, just like a couple of basketball players fighting for a rebound. You see Cahoon had position, but Hall just got up there and jumped away and took it away from him. Great athletic ability.
The Huskies stifle another Arizona State drive.
And that's a nice job by Hall of maintaining his body position, getting up and taking away the football without committing pass interference.
And here's Billy Joe Hobart at quarterback for Washington. 1st and 10 for the 27. Hobart in the option with room. At the 40, Hobart across midfield to the 45-yard line. Hobart lowered the head on Felipe Sparks. It looked like a linebacker running the football right there.
Billy Joe is going to get outside here and then put a little punishment on the Sun Devils. Nice fake inside by Matt Jones, and here comes Hobart. He's going to put his shoulder down. He's not going to take a flyer.
And a penalty flag is down as well.
Could they have called the quarterback for unnecessary roughness there?
The redshirt freshman from Puyallup High School.
Well, he looked like another quarterback we've seen do that, Tim Rosenbaugh.
Seeing his second bit of action of the year, he played during the USC victory as well. He and Brunel had a very hotly contested battle for the starting quarterback spot throughout the spring.
Automatic first down.
And throughout fall camp as well, before Brunel came away with the starting spot.
Well, there's no question that when you have a running quarterback, a capable running quarterback in your offense, it adds a dimension that creates a lot of problems for the defense. And in a lot of ways, it takes pressure off of their having to be great passers. The Husky coaching staff have great hopes for both these kids as passers, but right now their development has been a little bit on the slow side. They're good enough to make up for it in other areas.
15-yard personal foul penalty to go along with the big gain from Hobart, and it's 1st and 10 Washington from the Sun Devil 30. Movement on the line. Washington has most of its second unit in offensively now. Aaron Pierce, one of the lone first-teamers. Chris Rongan, Pete Caligas. Jim Novell in at center. Lincoln Kennedy remains in left guard.
On the offense. Repeat first down.
Illegal procedure penalty to call.
There was a situation where the Arizona State outside linebacker moved, caused Pierce to flinch. Offensive coaches always complain about that.
5-yard penalty backs it up to the 34, and Hobart looking to move the Huskies into the end zone. Would be his first touchdown engineering drive of the year if he does so. Setting up the screen, Bino Bryant to the 31. Wallerstedt, first one there for the tackle. Arizona State, as the crowd continues to file out. 9:25 to play, and the clock is ticking.
Hobart did a real nice job of setting that screen up. What you'd like to do is have the quarterback set up and then retreat some more, giving the illusion that he's being flushed from the pocket. He missed the block on that linebacker, Wallerstedt. Otherwise, there's some good running room down that left sideline.
There's one group that isn't leaving the stadium right now. That's the Husky fan assemblage in the upper reaches of Sun Devil Stadium. Nearly intercepted by Sparks. The intended receiver was Aaron Pierce. And Hobart escaped that decision.
Well, I'll tell you what, he just threw it from hash mark to sideline with a flick of his elbow. And although it impressed, the zip on the ball impressed me, the decision to throw it doesn't, as we watch the replay here. That had 6 points written all over it for the Sun Devils. The replay on the stadium replay.
Movement again up front. Hobart will run the football. He carries a few Arizona State Sun Devils with him down to the 20. Brass was there along with Williams for Sun Devils.
You see Hobart fake the pitch there, and the outside linebacker jumped outside.
He's very near a first down.
He looks like he's run the option before, Keith. Those are the kind of things that you spend with option quarterbacks. It takes years for them to learn.
It'll be 3rd and 1.
Huskies 3 for 9 third downs in this game.
Check that, it's 4th and 1. 4th and 1 situation now. Bino Bryant earns a first down. There are a couple thousand or so Husky fans at today's game, and they stand up and cheer. Among them here, Mark Pattinson, who played on that '84 team that went to the Orange Bowl. Hugh Millen, the quarterback of that team, is here. He was released by the Falcons last week. He will have a tryout with the Phoenix Cardinals of the National Football League on Tuesday of this week.
Well, that's a great tribute to the loyalty when you have players coming from Los Angeles out to Arizona to watch their former teammates and friends play.
And the penalty marker will likely give Washington a first down in this situation.
Dead ball, offsides on the defense.
Offside penalty.
First down.
Well, they have an outside linebacker now coming in at nose tackle, Keith. They just took Arthur Paul out. The penalty was on Arthur. He's played the entire game at nose tackle, and they now have their second team nose tackle, who is also listed as an outside linebacker, number 97, Greg Cordes. So Arizona State is right at the bottom of the barrel right now.
Ball's on the 13-yard line. It's 1st and 5, Washington. Bryant. Down to the 7. Bino Bryant playing well in place of Greg Lewis, whom we've likely seen the last of tonight. He's carried 26 times in this game for 154 yards and has accounted for 3 of the Huskies' 5 touchdowns in this game.
Bino fakes the counter and then comes back to the right side. Pretty good blocking inside there. Jeff Paukoa leading the way on the inside linebacker. Huskies do a great job of blocking on the move. They're not just straight ahead people.
1st and goal from the 7-yard line. Bryant, the lone setback. And he's inside the 5 now. Bryant hooks the tackler. So the Huskies will go to 2-0 in Pac-10 play. And they'll be in sole possession of first place in the Pac-10 race. A huge win in Tempe for Washington.
I don't know what the time of possession is for the second half, but Arizona State has not had the ball more than 4 minutes, I don't think.
Not to look too far ahead, but the Oregon Ducks are next on Washington's agenda. That game at Husky Stadium, and general admission seats will go on sale Monday for that contest, which will not be televised. Bryant, penalty flags down, touchdown Washington. We'll wait and see what the flag is for.
Offsides against Arizona State.
Offside on the defense.
Indeed it is, and the touchdown will stand. Washington is added to its lead. Billy Hobart engineers his first scoring drive as a Washington Husky quarterback.
Looked great on that option, Keith. He went to his left, and you'll see him flipping the ball at the last instant out to the pitch man. This is a good job of adjusting to what he sees, flicks it into Bryant's hand, touchdown.
And Bino Bryant rushes for the touchdown. The Huskies in front 41-14.
That's a tough thing for a right-hander going to his left.
Mike Dodd has been perfect in point after touchdown attempts tonight, and he remains that way. He has not had a field goal opportunity in the game. Washington out in front of Arizona State 42-14, and we're glad you're watching College Football 90. And on its way to its second conference victory of 1990, and we hope you'll join us tomorrow when we recap the game with head coach Don James. We'll take your telephone calls as well. I'm sure you'll want to know a lot about this game and also the upcoming contest with Oregon at Husky Stadium next weekend. Tomorrow at 10 on KCBQ 13 Fox, and at 11 o'clock tomorrow night on KAYU Fox 28 in Eastern Washington. Sparks in his own end zone. And Arizona State will take over with 6:51 to play. Brunell finishes the night 11 of 17 for 137 yards passing. Greg Lewis finishes with 26 carries, 154 yards, and 3 touchdowns. A magnificent offensive effort turned in by the Huskies.
So we said on the onset that the Sun Devils had to control Brunell and Lewis on the ground. They never came close to that. From the first quarter on, it was very apparent that the Huskies were going to run at will. And I'm very, very impressed with this offense. You know, if the defense is a purple haze, the offensive line ought to be called a purple earthquake.
They're knocking some people around, aren't they? Here's Lasher on first down to McReynolds, the tight end. He's very near a first down. Springstead, the tackle for Washington. First time we've called his name tonight. Redshirt freshman from Lacey. Hillary Butler there as well, the redshirt freshman from Tacoma. Well, you know, we were talking earlier about the junior eligibility situation, and Eugene Burkhalter moved on this year and was an unfortunate victim of that situation. But had he not moved on, would we have seen the play of Tommy Smith thus far? Boy, he's been quite a player for Washington.
It's hard to imagine his kind of play being overlooked on the practice field. He's a great football player.
Here comes Washington. They've got Lasher wrapped up and dropped for a loss.
Excellent coverage by the Huskies. They were playing a bracket defense and allowed Smith to play in the middle. I think Lasher wanted to throw the ball inside, and in the last minute he sees Smith coming up. Really never gets a chance. The Huskies get another sack.
DeMarco Farr made the tackle. 14-yard loss on the play. Lasher going long. Intercepted by Washington. Second interception of the night for the Huskies. That's Walter Bailey. Young man from Portland's Benson Tech, who began his career at Western Washington at the NAIA level and transferred to the university last year.
Really nothing you can do in a situation like that. Lasher's trying to make something happen. You can see that he seems to be laboring to throw the ball deep. There's no question that he does not have the strong arm that Paul Justin has. This ball is hung up like the other one that was intercepted, hung up a little bit, underthrown. The Huskies are playing good enough pass defense that they're not going to get open with an underthrown football.
There's a good look at it.
You notice there are 4 people around and the play is made.
Huskies start at their own 40. Here's Bryant. He's wrapped up for a 4-yard loss. Dixon there along with Carver. Three-yard loss in the play.
Well, that's a rare play tonight for the Sun Devils. I'm not sure that outside of twice with Brunell on pass attempts that they've been able to stop anybody for a loss. First play of the game, they got Lewis on that swing pass for -5, and it's been downhill since.
Matt Jones in the backfield. He carries the football out across the 40. Jay Barry was back there with him as Washington's keeping that clock a-running. It's burning down now with 4:37 to play. The Huskies have accomplished what they set out to do, and that's to come down to Sun Devil land and come away with a victory.
And in so doing, they played a very good game. When you look back, 2 of their scores were on big plays. Arizona State, nothing sustained. And outside of the penalties in the second half, Washington has kept things pretty much under control.
Hobart at quarterback. He'll pass. Tipped away. Ball tipped away by Shante Carver. Greg Lewis finishes with a fine outing once again. His 10th effort, reaching the century mark for the 5th time this year. 10 times overall. And Huskies have sent Channing Wiles on to punt on 4th down. Gulliford back at the 20-yard line, set to receive. 4:08 to play. Huskies in front 42-14. And it's blocked once again. Wiles tackles Harkrader. And Arizona State has the football deep in Washington territory. Kevin Preston Gervais made the play in there, blocked the punt.
Certainly a good reflection on Arizona State. They're not giving up. This man comes in between the right tackle, right end, who's being held, number 8. Mark Jones was being held by the outside linebacker of Arizona State, allowing that inside rusher to come free. situation like that, the right tackle should try to sit in there a little bit longer.
So 1st and 10 from the Husky 19-yard line. Incomplete. And it'll be 2nd down. 2nd block of the game for Preston Curvey. He's done that against the school he grew up in the shadow of. Went to Lakeside High School, and it's one of the few bright moments in this game for Larry Marmee.
Well, Wiles looked like he was taking a little bit longer than usual to get the ball off, but I don't think that, even so, that outside rusher came in free.
3:55 to play. Over the middle to the end zone. Incomplete. Almost a great reception from Ryan McReynolds. And he really got popped.
Paxton Khalili was there on the hit. The Huskies have a lot of pride. They've got some second liners in there, but they're not going to give up a touchdown. That ball is hung up in the air again. Great hit. Khalili separated him from the football. 3rd down, Arizona State 0 for 9 in the football game.
Talele went to high school in Hawaii, did not play high school football. Went to the College of the Desert, much like Curvey was a transfer to his school. Here's Russell out of bounds at the 13-yard line. William Doctor drove him out of bounds.
Brings up 4th down. Arizona State has gone for it on 4th down one time before with a fake punt and made it.
But here they'll likely go for 6. As 3 will do them no good. Washington with a commanding 42-14 lead with 3:43 to play. Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. 4th and 13 situation facing Arizona State here. They need to get to the goal line to make it successful. Pass is complete. They'll keep the drive alive. We thought they'd go to the end zone. Instead, they go for the 1st down. Walter Bailey made the tackle, and now it'll be 1st and goal for Arizona State.
Safe pass here. Lasher's running outside trying to get away from the pressure. Throws a strike. Nice tackle. Walter Bailey, it just explodes him. Penalty on the play. Late flag, Keith.
It was a 4th down play. Holding on
Repeat 4th down.
Arizona State, and so they'll repeat 4th down. Lasher 9 of 24 tonight for 128 yards, 3 Husky interceptions in the game. A week ago he was 7 of 14 in relief of Paul Justin. And I think, Ken Woody, had Paul Justin been here tonight, it'd be a lot different football game.
I'm not sure about that.
Really? Well, I think Arizona
there might have been a couple balls not underthrown, but Paul Justin couldn't stop Greg Lewis and couldn't break the blocking of the Huskies.
Lasher looking for the end zone, intercepted by Bailey, his 2nd of the night, and he's still running. Bailey to the 30-yard line. Bailey out to the 43 before being brought down. The little guy is a big play man for Washington.
He ran about 110 yards on that return, Keith.
A 41-yard return for Walter Bailey.
Watch, this is great athletic ability. The ball is not thrown that badly, and it looks like the receiver's open. The ball is hung up just long enough for Bailey to get there and make the play. Your comment that, had Justin been here, might have been a little different. Justin might have been able to put more pressure on the Husky defense, but I doubt that would have helped the ASU defense out much.
Here's Jay Barry into Arizona State territory. Washington with 4 interceptions tonight. Walter Bailey has a pair of them. Eric Briscoe with one and Dana Hall with one, as the defense has played tremendously. The special teams gave up a touchdown in this game, and the only other time Washington gave up a touchdown, the flea flicker pass, when Lasher hooked up with Kevin Snyder. Second and 1 after the 9-yard gain from Berry. Carries for a first down and more. Sparks made the tackle. And last week, Arizona State was upset by Missouri 30-9 in a game where they didn't show much enthusiasm. They didn't look ready to play, quite frankly. And tonight, Washington has not let the same thing happen to them at all.
Washington, and you can tell by, look at the way the offensive lineman is just blowing the Sun Devils backwards. They are showing a lot of intensity, a lot of workmanlike attitude towards the job. I think that block punt got their attention early, Keith, and definitely no sign of let up.
They've been very focused tonight on first down. Berry once again inside the 30-yard line to the 26 before Brass bar him down.
You see number 75, Lincoln Kennedy. He weighs over 300 pounds, and he's out on the run ahead of the sweep, not slowing the back down. The Huskies they have a lot of ability up front, a lot of athletic ability. These people really impress me.
We're getting a chance to see a lot of their depth tonight, too. Lincoln Kennedy is in the game. He was a starter, but probably to gain some experience for him.
He's getting a good workout tonight. One thing that Coach James had mentioned before, they felt that they were very intense for USC, maintained that level against Colorado, and there's certainly been no fall off at this Arizona State game.
Two tight ends.
Travel arranged through Northwest Airlines, serving Seattle with 6 daily nonstops to Southern California. Northwest, being the best is all they want to be.
107 to play here at Sun Devil Stadium. Washington 42, Arizona State 14. And the Huskies with football marching down the field. And that clock is running again. Billy Hobart at quarterback. He's engineered one touchdown drive tonight. Leif Johnson, redshirt freshman from Kennedy High in Seattle, getting a chance to carry the ball tonight for Washington. Adam Brass made the tackle for Arizona State. We've said his name a lot tonight. Tonight's College Football 90 game was produced by Douglas Wetz, directed by Mark Causey. Our associate producer is Barbara Caldwell. Transmission coordinator tonight, Don White. Electronic graphics handled by Margaret Helmer. Mike Bucana, our graphics coordinator. I'd like to thank our spotter, Preston English, and our statistician tonight, Kyle Lang. And our thanks to everyone who helped make tonight's telecast possible. Seconds. This will likely be the final play of the game as Washington has accomplished what it wanted to do. They've come to Tempe and come away with a victory over the Arizona State Sun Devils to go 2-0 in conference play. Hobart will just bowl forward to pick up the first down, and they'll let the clock expire after the chains move, and Washington will have gone to 4-1 overall in 1990. They'll be 2-0 in conference play, the lone remaining unbeaten team in the Pac-10. Next week, they'll see the University of Oregon Ducks at Husky Stadium, a game which is not sold out. Don James' team will try to go 3-0 against a traditional Northwest rival. That should be a dandy of a game as well. Washington defeats Arizona State 42-14. Greg Lewis carries 26 times for 154 yards and scores 3 touchdowns to help the Huskies to their second conference win of 1990. It's going to be a disappointing night for Larry Marmee, but the plane trip back to Seattle will be a most pleasant one for Don James and his University of Washington coaching staff and team. And we'll come back to Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe to wrap things up when College Football 90 continues.
Please drive carefully on your way home this evening. Look forward to seeing you next Saturday.
finishes with 334 yards rushing in this game. Arizona State is held to just 24. The Purple Haze defense comes through again.
Well, they totally dominated Arizona State, and as I said, that if they didn't have the Huskies' attention, that block punt got it. I'm very, very impressed with the Washington Huskies, particularly that offensive line. And we all have heard about the defense, but that offensive line is really something.
In another big game for the Pac-10 Conference's leading rusher, Greg Lewis, 26 carries, 154 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And join us tomorrow for a complete review of tonight's game on Husky Highlights with Don James. We'll take your telephone calls to the head coach as well. On the air at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning in Western Washington, 11 o'clock in Eastern Washington on KAYU. And be sure to join us on November 17th when we present Apple Cup 90. The University of Washington visits Washington State. You'll